how's it going? My name is James Tripp. This channel is Flowboxer here on YouTube. It is a channel where I'm going to be sharing some stuff around Tai Chi Chuan as a martial art. Now, this is something that is of great interest to me. It's a great passion of mine. I started training in Tai Chi Chuan in the late 1990s, mid to late 1990s. And since then, times have changed a lot in the world of martial arts. We've had the UFC, we have YouTube, and really a lot of the way I think that traditional martial artists perhaps behaved, a lot of the stories they believed themselves about what was true, what was not true, have kind of been blown out of the water a lot. So my interest is in Tai Chi Chuan as a martial art, and that means a martial art that can function in today's climate. Okay, it's a very interesting thing. People don't consider this. Martial arts, each and every one will have developed inside of a context. Now, they may have been highly valid inside of that context, and then across time, the context shift, the art themselves become a sort of rarefied museum piece. They lose their adaptiveness, they lose their functionality. So my interest in Tai Chi Chuan is not just in it as a traditional martial art, it is in it as an alive art, an art that is alive and functions and has something to say in this modern world of mixed martial arts and the like. So I train in Tai Chi Chuan still. I explore Tai Chi Chuan deeply. I also train with other martial artists, Muay Thai people, boxers, wrestlers, these kinds of people, because I want to make sure that what I'm working with, what I'm working on, what I'm exploring has functionality and adaptiveness in those kind of contexts. So you'll note, by the way, that this channel started in 2013. This is only the second video, and here we are in 2021, so an extensive gap in between. And that original video was filmed back in 2008, so a long time has passed. I'm a lot older, and I have very, very different views and perspectives. On to this video, which is about Tai Chi Chuan on the heavy bag. Now, I'm making this video simply because I opened up a Facebook group inviting people to come and join what I'm calling the Edinburgh Tai Chi Chuan Boxing Club. And that's hopefully going to be a small group of dedicated people looking at developing their Tai Chi Chuan. Again, putting it under a little bit of pressure, not going too crazy, but really exploring what's possible with Tai Chi Chuan, how it really works and how dynamic it can be. But it's a new thing, and I haven't been really training with people. I have training partners that I jump out and meet in various times and places, but I was talking to somebody who had joined that group, and they were saying that they've been doing some stuff on the heavy bag, some Tai Chi Chuan stuff on the heavy bag. And I mentioned that this is a thing that I've done a few times myself. It's not an extensive training method that I've made use of, but particularly just recently, I've done a few sessions where I've played around with the heavy bag at the local bars club that I'm a member of. That sounds kind of weird, but it's an old Victorian bars club, and they have a gym there, and they have a dance studio, and they have a heavy bag. So I've been playing around with some Tai Chi stuff on that, and I happen to have shot a few clips, not for YouTube, they just happened to be there so I could look and see what it looked like from the inside out. And actually found it surprisingly useful. I found that you could do some interesting things on it. Now, I'm going to share some of these things. I'm going to talk about what's going on from a sort of Tai Chi perspective. I'm aware as I do this, I'm sort of diving into a viper pit probably, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people that look at that and go, yeah, Tai Chi, that's not going to be any good for anything anyway. And then there's going to be all the Tai Chi sort of purists, the real, the energy heads and these sorts of things who'll say that's not real Tai Chi that you're doing, it's just external and all of this kind of stuff that people tend to say. And I partly agree with that, by the way. I'm not claiming that what you're going to see here is the pinnacle of Tai Chi. I'm not claiming that I'm the most refined master. I am not claiming that a heavy bag responds like a human being. I'm not. Interestingly enough, though, a lot of what you're going to see here, because I'm putting certain waves in, I'm moving waves of force through my body and bringing them out into the bag. And actually, a lot of what you see here, you'll see it moving, lifting the bag in some interesting and different ways from what you'll see if you see a boxer working a heavy bag, for example. And a human being is very different. And often if you're working with somebody who's using a lot of strength or rigidity, the effect that you see here happening on the bag is often compounded because as they go to hold on, as they go to rescue themselves, they end up adding their own sort of efforts to restabilize themselves to the problem. Okay, now at some point in the future, I hope to be able to show you that. If my Edinburgh group picks up and I get some people coming along, hopefully some of them will be happy to be seen on camera. I also have a plan. I'm up here in Edinburgh, but I spend a lot of time down south near London, and I've got some friends down there. I've got a good friend of mine who's a long-term Muay Thai fighter, and I think that he might agree to do some interesting videos with me of not Tai Chi against Muay Thai, but just showing how Tai Chi can work inside of a little bit more of a, let's say, challenging martial arts context. Okay, well, let's have a look at this stuff. Tai Chi on the heavy bag. You make of it what you will. And of course, please do share your thoughts in the comments. I'd invite you to be polite, but there's no rule in the universe that says you must. And if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you have friends who are interested in Tai Chi Chuan as a martial art, and you think there might be some interest here for them, please do share the video as well. Okay, let's look at this heavy bag material. Now, with these first few interactions with the bag, what you're seeing is me creating a lifting force. Now, this should seem a little bit unusual if you're used to seeing people hit bags. You'll see the chains really slacken off at the top. There's a lot of lifting on the bag. Now, note how I'm creating this. What I'm doing is I'm sinking down, so this is an important principle, sinking down into your root, and I'm kind of compressing down into my root and allowing that to rebound back up so that there's a rising force that comes out and comes into the bag. Now, what I'm doing here is I've got enough inward force that I'm keying into the bag, but my main focus is on the upward force. With the first two here, I've got my hands on the front of the bag. Okay, so I'm not holding the bag in any way. There's just pressure coming in on the front. As I say, enough inward pressure, and this is like a jai pressure, what would be called jai in Tai Chi Chuan, and then this upward wave that's coming through from the ground or from my feet through the compression of my body being released that way. And this is like a pung. You could relate this to what's called pung energy, which is like a rising force. So there's an expansive quality to that as well. Now, you can also see I do two here where I'm bringing that rising force in from the side. So instead of bringing it in from the front, I'm bringing it round and from the side. I also have an opposing force lower down, which is sort of squeezing in. So again, we've got this jai principle, this principle of squeezing, but I've also got this rising force in there as well. Now, if I was working in a wrestling or push hands kind of context, this is a very destabilizing experience to have these two forces come in. They're almost like scissoring or squeezing across. One of them is rising and the other one is not so much sinking, but it's just moving directly across. You can see how much it makes the bag lift, particularly on that second one there. There's a real upward lift of the bag, okay, a real upward lift of the bag. When a person experiences this, that upward lift is compounded by the fact that the sinking that takes place before creates a little bit of downward pressure that they will most of the time react to with their own upward force. So you end up adding your upward force to theirs. So here I'm switching gears from that long rising Fa Jin to a short horizontal Fa Jin. So what you see here is a short burst released into the bag. I do not retract the hands from the bag first, so it comes from the hands being in contact with the bag, but the body of course moves. Now what I'm actually doing here, you'll see there's a wave, so the body moves first. I'm actually moving from my center horizontally and downward. It's not easy to see this, but I'm actually sinking in a little bit as I'm coming forward, and then the center comes through and it shunts a wave through my body and out into my arms. So you'll notice this waveform. There's an offset there. And again, the key here is a short burst without removing the hands first. This is a different quality of Fa Jin from the long Jin that you've seen before. It's much more damaging, much more jarring, and it's not really something you often see demonstrated live on a person because it's very shocking. And it is designed to damage, unlike the long Jin, which is a little bit more showy, designed to sort of bounce people out and that kind of thing. But really, actually, that long Jin is about capturing people in order to do something else. It doesn't always express the way it's shown in demos. Okay, so even though there's more that I could show from this particular bag work session, I'm going to wrap this video here because it's past the 10-minute mark. I might make another video, particularly if people request it, having a look at some of what else is going on there. And I might make another video at some point showing some flow-based work using the heavy bag, a different way of training with it from a Tai Chi perspective. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up. Please do like the video. If you have any questions or comments, please do make use of the comment section below. And if you want more content like this and you want to see what other content I end up creating, please do subscribe to the channel Flowboxer and hit the notifications bell.